and then another thing happens. Hey, all right, we are live, recording one of our last official presentations as we wrap up the fall 2021 semester. And Mr. Smith is your teacher. It's English 1010. It's Tennessee Tech fall semester. And today we're going to go into the anti-essay, which is your final. Just to stress, English 1010 is a class that does not have a traditional exam. We do not sit for an exam. As a matter of fact, by one of my supervisors, I am prohibited from giving a final exam. And so therefore, all work for this class must be completed during the regular semester. So this creative final is going to be due on Friday, December 3rd. Friday, December 3rd. We move that back 2 days from the syllabus. I try never to change the syllabus, but if I change the syllabus, I always do it in favor of the students for more accommodation, more leniency. If you are really excited to turn this thing in on the 1st, you are still welcome to turn this thing in on December 1st. You can turn it in early. You can work on it this weekend while you're home and get it done extra early if you want. So we are at the anti-essay. It is the mixtape. Now, the history, the lineage of this assignment is that it was years ago, and I've been here over about 20 years now. Early and maybe in the early aughts, in the zeros, around the time you guys were in kindergarten, a student came to me, and they knew, because I would talk about popular music. I was obsessed with bands and stuff, and they came with a handmade, homemade CD. And they handed me this homemade CD at the final as a gift. Music to listen to while I did my grading. Well, over the years, this homemade CD that this student has given me has turned into a required final creative assignment at the end of the fall semester. The annotated mixtape. It's a playlist. It is so much fun. It's so much fun. I can hardly stand it. So I am going to try to present my my screen now, and let's see if this works. Let's go this way. Oh yes, technology is so much fun. Here we go. I think we got this. Welcome to the English 1010 anti-essay, the annotated mixtape. This first part of the talk is just really like a whirlwind preview. So I am a Generation X. You guys are Zoomers. So there's a whole generation between us, Generation Y, aka the millennial generation. So when we were coming up, and you guys have probably seen this in a lot of movies, it's in a lot of pop culture. Before Spotify, before YouTube, before the internet, before cell phones, before blogs, before social media, we used to give each other mixtapes. Teenagers especially, if you were going to date a new girl, way to really get her excited, or significant other of your choice of gender, regardless of your gender, whatever, but if you were interested in somebody, a person, a human, a fellow human, a great way to impress them was to make them a mixtape. My buddies and I, we were high school DJs. We were on the radio station. We had a great FM radio station, 88.3 at my high school. We would make mixtapes for each other. It was a way of turning each other on to cool new stuff, right? You all share YouTubes and TikToks and things to this day, but the mixtape has outlasted the format of the cassette tape. I mean, most of you will be not making a cassette. Now, I guarantee you, when I taught this first several years ago to one student, he got so excited, he figured out how to make cassettes. He went out and bought like cassette players and blank tapes, and he actually took it off the internet and put it into a cassette. Like he went backwards in time. He got so upset because he was kind of one of those retro hipsters. I don't know if you guys know a retro hipster, but you know me, and I might be guilty as charged. But it was a way to get excited. Now, the annotated mixtape is a mixtape or a playlist with a little narrative or a little story that goes along with it. And back in the day, when you used to buy vinyl albums, a lot of times on the back of the vinyl album, there would be an essay written by a music critic about the album you're going to listen to. And it was while you were sitting there in your house listening to the record, you would read the essay on the back of the album. It's called liner notes. So annotated playlists are kind of like liner notes. These are notes that you've made on the music that we're about to listen to. But I just let you know that you can, if you had access to all the technology, the old school technology, you can still make a mixtape. And these are pictures of me making a holiday mixtape a couple of years ago. As we were getting around to do this, I bought a bunch of blank cassettes, and there in the picture you see a turntable, a tuner, which is an amplifier, and a cassette deck. And I actually made mixtapes the way I used to make mixtapes, which is by copying, one song off of one album and mixing up as a shuffle, the way that we did. So there's a photo of me trying to make an actual old school mixtape. So a mixtape is a collection of songs that you've chosen, that you've curated, that goes with a theme, which that's the biggest part of today. And between now and the third, when we get back together, is for you all to choose that theme to make what you want your mixtape to be. So it's about the idea, it's about the concept, it's about whatever it is that you're going to be putting into it. If we're going to be really strict about this, I'd actually make you guys go and do all that, but we don't have time for that. We can't buy an actual, turntable and, a bunch of vinyls. And maybe that probably a couple years ago, you could probably go to the library. They probably had all the equipment at the tech library where you could do this. I bet they don't have that equipment either. I think when they've cleared out a lot of the stuff that they used to have a vinyl collection. You could go into a library and kind of borrow an album and go and listen to it on headphones. Those days are behind us. There are digital libraries where you can go and listen now to audio from the olden days on MP3 or video and things of this nature. So our context today is the playlist, but it is a playlist with purpose and with meaning. Okay, and playlists for your purposes are going to be made on Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, somewhere where you can share it easily by a link. If you try to share it, I just warn you now, if you try to share it via Apple Music, I don't subscribe to Apple Music, so I won't be able to access the actual songs to listen to. But if you do all the rest of the parts of the assignment, type up the song list and write the notes on that, you're gonna be fine, because you'll have all the different aspects that you need. And so the basic thing that I'm trying to convey here today is that the mixtape itself is a form of art. And I've got books. I've got so many books about this topic. One here, the mixtape, and this one here, the art of cassette culture, really went back and dug into the past. And what they did is that they got people, from back in the day to actually go and dig up all their old tapes and take pictures of them, and tell the stories around their old tapes. And I don't have any right now to show you. I should have brought, but I've saved a bunch of my old tapes, and I should go listen to some of them today. And so nowadays people are getting their music on all these different sources, Apple Music, Amazon, SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify. But we're going to go with Spotify. It seems to be the industry standard for a streaming service. Many of you have the subscription version of it, because that's easier to use. If you have the free version of it, there's some limitations there, but you all can still do this with the free version, I promise. But what I'm going to be evaluating is your typed up list and your notes on there. But if I get curious, I will actually, go and click play and I'll listen to this. But I've got actually mixtapes in all my classes right now, so I'm not going to be able to, there's going to be 100, maybe about 100 hours of music. I won't maybe be able to listen to every single song. So you're going to need to pick a theme and to be as specific and as narrow and as creative as possible in picking the theme. That is the most important thing, is to come up with a concept. Now, several years ago, because it was Thanksgiving time, often when this comes up, and when I was just getting into this, I made a Thanksgiving mix for my radio show, which I do, and I'm on again and off again, but on 88.5 FM. And this is something that you guys could do if you're interested. They have lots of openings for staff. You could become a DJ. I think you have to wait till the new semester to take the new DJ class, but you could have your own radio show and be like a live, real DJ. But in any event, I did this show. Now it's been 12 years ago, and I made a Thanksgiving playlist, and then I wrote notes on it. And so this blog, actually, that I'm going to paste in here in the chat from Teacher on the Radio, has all the components of what you need to have in that in your playlist. So come up with a theme. People have done Christmas lists. I mean, it is coming up really soon. This is a thing to really divide the room, right? The people who love holiday music and the people who don't. I'm a fan, but I'm very particular and very picky. When I say I like the seasonal music, I'm not necessarily saying the same music that you're saying that you like. In this moment, you should be brainstorming while you're listening to me, already coming up with some artists that you definitely need to put in your playlist for the possible themes. And if you have certain artists that you need, you might allow their catalog to lead you. I've sometimes made entire playlists just based on a couple of words in the title. I'll get a couple of songs that all have the same words in the title, or songs with the same name, but not the same meaning. And Then I've built a whole playlist, and it's very easy. The algorithm is your friend. I'm telling you, man, the algorithm within that beast, that Spotify, it's going to help you find the music. Once you get going, it's going to start making suggestions to you of things that you should listen to. If you're an avid over user addicted to Spotify like I am, every week they're making me new playlists, that curate for me. And it's the algorithm, man. There's not a person there sitting there hand selecting these songs for me. There's a machine with a brain and AI that's making me a playlist every week, and it usually nails it. It's really kind of creepy and kind of wild. So you're going to be curating this. That's what you all are, curators and content creators here. You guys are influencers, right? So you're going to be making an impact, and tell each other about this. We're going to have that on that last day. We're going to have a show and tell, and everybody can just say a little bit about their playlist and suggest one song, and I'm going to make a haphazard, spontaneous class playlist on that final day. And so, an end of the world mix, an apocalypse mix, with an entire narrative arc of how the songs go, and you can make your genres bleed into each other kind of seamlessly, like it was an actual radio station. Or sometimes one of the things that I've always had fun with on playlists is a cacophony of different genres that shouldn't go together, and mixing in spoken word and soundtracks, with hits, with deep cuts, going into these kind of really cacophonies that don't make sense, right? Now, most of you probably won't get into making the art, but man, if you wanted to go into it and go and do any kind of artwork to go with yours, whether a CD cover or a cassette cover, you're not required to make a cassette or a CD to make a CD or a cassette cover. And in the past, I've had students who have gone and made little physical booklets, like little scrapbooks. We call them zines. That's another 80s thing for the fanzine. Here's a Christmas playlist, Merry Litmus, that somebody made for me. So you can go all in with that. But what you're going to need, what's required, that would be optional. That'd be like extra credit points, pouring down. Some of you need extra credit points, but most of you would be just do the basics. So the basics are going to be the song list, about 15, 20 songs. Don't kill me with too much content here. Don't give me. Years ago, a guy gave me a jump drive, with his entire music collection, like 20 hours. I mean, this is like, whoa. Even me, overwhelmed ADHD guy, I just completely freaked out. Like, dude, don't give me every song that you've ever listened to. So you guys have to curate this little snapshot of your tastes and loves in music for me. So it's going to be a song list with notes explaining the song choices, an overall introduction explaining the theme, and then artwork is optional. People make a collage. They can, if you have graphic design skills, you're welcome to go out and give that a try if you want. There's my Grub and Gratitude playlist, and so inside of the Spotify. There's that those three dots up at the top. You click on that. After you've made the playlist, you've given it an original title. You scroll down to where it says share, and then you get the playlist link, the public playlist link that's for your audience. And then you send that, you embed that link in your assignment, which can be sent to me in email and Google Documents. For extra credit, if you want, you can go and make a whole make a whole, a website if you want, a creative website, or you can make a physical thing. But if you do, you're gonna have to deliver that to me at Henderson Hall 218B on the morning of on that morning of the 3rd, or leave it at the main office up there, and they'll place it for me in my faculty mailbox. I know you guys are just going to do such a great job on this, and you're going to have so much fun. It's only 10 points. I'm still going to send you your points and let you know where you stand in the class of coming in. If there's any late, if you forgot to send your profile, if your team forgot to send your group project, get that to me. So I'm going to go over the assignment, just really again over the assignment sheet really quickly. Yeah, this is a short presentation. I don't have a ton to give you, but let me go ahead and share my screen again, and I'll just go over the assignment sheet. This was sent to you via email. So I explained that this tradition began with students just giving me CDs just for the heck of it, and it's turned into a tradition. It's now an assignment. The most important thing is that your mixtape should have meaning or theme or concept behind it, making fun choices, what songs to include. The purpose is to have fun. You've done 2 really hard individual essays, the profile and the memoir. You've done the correspondence collage, which was a warm-up. You've done this major research project as a team. Now this is time to have an easy off-ramp to the semester with a fun anti-essay. There's no MLA style. The requirements are not very formal. And also this is a way for you to develop an appreciation for the American art form of the mixtape playlist, how to make one to appreciate its history and sentiment within our culture. The nuts and bolts, you're going to create a 15 to 25 song playlist, no more than about 90 minutes in length. 90 minutes was the traditional old mixtape. It was side A was 45 minutes, side B was 45 minutes. Sometimes you'd have to time how much, you've only got a couple of minutes left on the tape. You get a really short song, so there's no dead air, and that song ends, right? People would get really precise. They'd look at the track listing on the back of the album, exactly how many seconds or minutes. Your Spotify's will tell you how it's tracking inside the mix. Give it a title. Don't be generic. 300 word minimum introduction for the concept. Numbered track list with additional notes to go with each song. The statement of purpose and additional song-by-song notes provide the required annotations in the annotated aspect of the mixtape. I believe in my playlist, I would do song-by-song, or I'd group a few songs together and give notes on that as well. You can do that as well. And then I need a copy and paste of the public link. A best way to do all this is be in a Google Doc and just send me the Google Doc. You can also create your own website. But that is completely optional for extra credit. And then that maybe, extra credit would be make the website, share it on your Instagram, and take a screenshot of you sharing it. Why is that important? And why would I give points for that? Because I want to make it real, and it's going to be more real if you give it to your friends than if you just give it to the teacher, right? If you actually are so proud of this creative project that you want to actually spread it out there in the world, that would just be awesome. So you just have the name of the artist and the song. If you make any kind of artwork, cover art or any other artwork to go with it, that's extra points. If you put it on and the websites would be like a Blogger or a Tumblr or a WordPress or something like that. Just be thinking about it. There's some ideas. You're only getting 10 points on this, and that's compared to, say, I think it was 25 points for the last 3 assignments. So keep that in mind. You guys have other exams to study for and other work to do. Don't spend, a humongous amount of time on this. And it is going to take you some time. This is a very creative assignment, but it does require some investment on your part. But hopefully you'll be having so much fun doing it, you'll forget about the time. But don't go overboard. It's only a 10-point assignment, and there will be extra points afforded for the extra creative. But there's creative completeness and genuine effort is what you're being graded on. There's no rubric for this. Okay. Please get this to me by Friday, December 3rd. We will meet on the call on that day for show and tell, and we'll randomly make a really fun playlist in class on that day. I am going to stop recording now and answer